Hello and good afternoon. This is Vicky Martinez at Giving Grace here. I want to give you some statistics and and these are kind of hard statistics. Kind of broke my heart when I started studying this. Um, 2 million, 2 million adolescents attempt suicide each year. And with the pediatric United States of Pediatrics, they report 25% or more. They're the leading causes of death between the ages of 10 and 24. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death between 15 and 19-year-olds. The suicide rate for America, ages 10 to 24, has increased to 62%, according to the CDC. Now, that was a revelation that I don't think I was prepared for. We hear about it, we read about it. Some people have lived it. I was not prepared for those statistics. And I had an amazing opportunity to spend some time with an age group of 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. And they were completely and totally open. It's a difficult subject to talk about. And especially at that age where you really don't. So I am so happy that these kiddos stepped up and talked to me about their struggles with suicide. So the first thing, and some of their triggers were bullying, depression, anxiety, any type of social media, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, any social media, and home life. Those are their triggers. The triggers are something that makes you think about doing something. It makes you feel yicky inside. I have triggers myself. And one of my triggers is like if I'm in public and some children do need to be taken care of as far as discipline. But if I'm in public and someone's disciplining their child by a little bit of a whipping, I have to get up and leave the room. That's a trigger for me. I can't do it. I mean, I'll be in the other room breathing in a bag. That's just a trigger for me. So what I'm trying to tell you is these are the triggers for these 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. Now then, another thing they talked about was adults and how parents, it can be teachers. Big thing that they said was school counselors, because you may go to your school counselor and tell them how you're feeling, and you're sent away because they think you're faking because you want to be out of school. Now, that was hard for me to, I mean, I guess they see so much of it, but things that they really felt strong about was parents, teachers, and counselors at school not listening to them, you know. And most school shootings of a poor home life, bullying, and I had one child tell me that when they're in the midst of a trigger, they just want to shut it off, and it really doesn't matter how they shut it off. They just got to shut it. They've got to get out of it. And at that moment in time, they don't care about anything else because it has emotionally got them so bound that they do not think about their families. They do not think about their friends. They only thing they can think about is getting out of the situation and shutting it off and shutting down. Um, and I did ask, one of them. I said, a lot of people, especially in teenage suicide, I asked them, when you guys think about this, do you think it's permanent? Do you think this is going to be something that you're going to wake up from? Or do you just think about, yeah, this is it? And they actually said they don't even think about it at the moment. They don't think it's permanent. And I don't believe maybe they're so stressed out, so triggered, they don't believe it's a permanent situation. Maybe it's a cry for help, and maybe they think they're going to be helped at, help is on the way before something bad happens. But they're not thinking about that at that moment that they're in that transition. They're not even thinking about it being permanent or non-permanent. The most of them did not believe it would be permanent. And that's sad. And that is lack of education on our behalf, on parents, teachers, school counselors. Suicide is a permanent situation. And they think that it is something that is going to get them out of the place they're in. But I don't believe they think that it's a permanent situation. Now, I have, let me turn my page here because these kids really talk to me. Body image is huge, huge trigger. We are all different shapes, sizes, tall, short, thin, skinny. Body image is a huge trigger, even for the boys. I mean, the boys and the girls will trigger from body image. And, one of the kids told tear them down. If they want to be themselves, someone's right there waiting to tear them down. Our children, I don't know what is. This is an attack on our children. If you can't even, you have to live a lie to make people happy. No wonder these kids are triggered with every situation that's around them. Okay. And then the other one told me they have to be carbon copies of everyone else. If someone is wearing, okay, I'm not with the style, what kids are wearing these, I have no clue. But let's say, someone's got, let's say, Nikes. They got the whole Nike outfit and it's white, let's say. If everyone's not wearing a Nike outfit, or if you're standing out from those people that do, are the cookie cutters of society because they're afraid to be themselves, cookie cutters, and they're all dressed the same, act the same, talk the same, then you're going to be tore down. They're not even allowed to be themselves. And they can't even identify as their own person. Now, I want to read a few scriptures, and then we're going to get into how we some of these our little babies. And jar, they're babies. I don't care, until you hit maturity, about 30. So they're babies. I want to read you something in Psalms, and it is Psalms 139, 13 and 14. And it says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. We are wonderfully made. We may not look the same. We may all look different. We're not to be cookie cutters. We are to be our own people, our own person, have our own identity. So take that verse to heart. If you have someone struggling at home, take that verse and put it on their mirror, put it on their bathroom when they're getting dressed every morning. Let them read that every morning and know that their life has value. And it has from the moment that they were in their mother's womb. Okay, so now then, let me read. And this one's also in Psalms. And it is Psalms, let me see, 42, 40 and verse 2. And I love this. As number one, it's the word right out of the Bible. So it's true. And, I have actually been in this verse. I have been there. If you're live and breathing, I'm sure you've been there too. So I want to read it to you. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Now, I just want to know, we never get feedback. I want some feedback. Somebody has been lifted out of that slimy pit, out of that mud and mire, and he has set their feet on a rock and gave them a firm place to stand and put a new song in their heart. I know someone out there has been through that. And then I have one more that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to get to how we're going to help these kiddos. So this is again in Psalms. I love Psalms. And this is 40, verse 2. No, that's not it. This is another one you could put up on their mirror or in the bathroom or hide it in their lunchbox. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I know I've been crushed in spirit. I don't know anybody that hasn't. Haven't we all had difficult times? So how do we expect our teens, adolescents, to deal with the spirit being crushed? They don't know how to handle it. And then they go to school and all this stuff occurs at school. It is not 1980s. It's not 1960s. It's not the 1950s. We are in 2024. It's a whole new world for our kiddos. And now this is something that I have a lot of phone numbers, but I want to do this first. There are warnings that you can kind of look for with your child. Adolescent even the pediatric people are saying they have an increase in suicides. So some warnings that you can kind of look for in your child, no matter the age. Withdrawing from their friends and family, hiding out in the rooms. Now, I know teens that tend to want to be in their room talking to their friends. But if you see that happening and it's more and more and more, that could be a sign. Saying goodbye and giving away important things that they've had or they've saved, that's huge. That's a huge red flag. And that is something you need to take notice of. Taking dangerous risk, displaying extreme mood swings. So you have this child that, has really been a really good kiddo, and then all of a sudden, man, where did this kid come from? There's something something's wrong, something's troubling this person. The mood swings, and I know teenagers do have mood swings, hormones pumping through them. I've raised a lot of teenagers, and I know that they have mood swings, but there's a different type of mood swing. And you, as a parent, as a teacher, as a school counselor, you have to be aware, you know, and what that, if you notice a difference, you're gonna be able to notice that and think, you know what, they're not acting the way that they usually do. Red flag. And the biggie is eating or sleeping less or more. Some kids don't eat at all. They just don't eat. You have to force them to eat. And they have problems with not sleeping at all. And then on the other side of that, you have the kids that eat all the time. Like they have to have food in their hand all the time. It's not whatever they're going through, it's not their fault. They're going through something and they're sleeping all the time. Those are all huge red flags for our children. And listen, we have to be accountable for our kiddos. And I'm not sitting here looking down on anyone because, as I said at the beginning, I've had my share of fair problems also. We all have. We've all been in the mud, face down. I don't know anybody that, if you haven't been, then you're lucky. But mostly it's a yes. Most people are, at least a time or two, you've been laying there in the mud. Now, I want to give some numbers out. There is an international association. It's called ASP, AE, and it has a suicide hotline. And you can either text, call, or chat. And all you have to do is dial 988. And that is going to take you to an audio, and it's going to let you know if you need to speak to someone, if you want to text someone, or you want to chat with someone. And then I have, let me see. Okay. And then 38255. And so I'm going to repeat those. The International Association for Suicide Prevention, called ASP, that is 988. 3 numbers, plain and simple. And then the other is TALK, TALK, and it's 1-800-273-8255. And trying to see here, I want to make sure. Okay, and there are things that we can do. Let me see here. When you talk to some of these people, they're going to set you up with some programs. And what a suicidal thought do I need to have to help with them? So as you know that someone's going through something and you're thinking, I don't know if this is a suicidal thought or is it just something that's changing in them, don't hesitate, call them. And the second one is,